This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by Natasha Jonas over Zoom. Natasha, firstly, how are you? How are things going?
It's good. I mean, it's as good as it can be. Obviously we're allowed back in the gym, so for us it's just business as usual, and now we're just trying to get dates. So
How difficult or how challenging has it been training through this entire pandemic? What differences have you noticed throughout it all, Natasha?
I mean, it's tough. Um, Anytime you're trading, it's tough. You know, you're always working towards dates as well. So it's tough not knowing when the next. Oh, can you still see me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, it went off then. It's tough to know when the next date's coming as well, with because there's so many contracted fighters that the promoters are trying to get out, and obviously me being one of the uncontracted ones, it's tough. Probably my little girl's more involved in camps now that she normally would, with the schools being off. And it has been fun, but it's also tough. You know, you've got homeschooling to contend with. You've got to, keep her entertained, and she's got to sit through the 2-hour sessions that we do as well.
How are you finding homeschooling?
Challenging. It's not the work that's so bad. I think I've learned stuff about myself, and I probably don't have the patience that I thought I had.
Natasha, with shows returning, I know you're going to be one of many in the gym who'd love to get onto one of them. When you see the first lot of fights announced and you're not one of the names, what goes through your mind? Is there a sense of frustration? Is there a sense of, well, just keep ticking over, something will come? What goes through your mind?
Obviously, you want to be as active as possible, so it is frustrating. And like I said, there's no dates in sight either, so it's frustrating. As you know, I'm a self-employed person. I'm an athlete. If I don't box, I don't get paid, so that's a bit shaky financially as well. But I don't wish a failed test on anybody. But when all these shows are coming up, I'm gonna keep myself in shape just in case anyone does, and that's at the minute the best I can hope for. And yeah, it's just how boxing is, unfortunately, at the minute.
I mean, coming into this year, Natasha, was no secret. 2 fights which you've spoken about openly that you'd love to have is the Terri Harper rematch and, of course, Katie Taylor. In your eyes, what is the plan for yourself this year?
To fight anyone and everyone, anyone who's got a belt. I think I've justified myself at world level now. So I think, to push on, I'm not going to wait around for Harper forever, but there is other people with other belts, and anyone between 130 and 140 who's got a belt, they're in my target. So any one of the champions is someone I'd like to box. If not, definitely putting myself in a position where I'm mandatory for somebody. And yeah, that's the best I can hope for at the minute.
Do you ever look and reflect on that fight with Terri and Natasha? Because you produced a fantastic performance and people either had it very close or they gave it to you yourself, or certainly most people from what I saw did. Do you ever look and think that performance has kind of had a negative effect almost because people will look at you and think we're in for a hard night's work to share the ring with you and you don't hold a belt yourself?
Yeah, a little bit. You can become a victim of your own success. I think even in the gym, I'm not the only one. There's the likes of Callum Johnson who is in the same boat. And none of the champions want a tough night for no reason. That's why I'm trying to put myself in a mandatory to make a champion fight me. But other than that, like, yeah, it is what it is. I think I always knew that performance, and to be fair, that's not the best of me either. I think I've still got a lot more to show and a lot more to prove. And I think, when I'm asked to step up, I do. And we obviously had a lot of naysayers that we was trying to prove wrong, and hopefully we did that night. And we've been recognised as Fight of the Year, Women's Fight of the Year, and the Round of the Year. So it was a good fight. Both of us put up a good performance, and it's good that it's two British boxers doing that.
Well, you just mentioned two forms of recognition you received it was only a few days ago. What did you kind of make of it? Is it a bittersweet taste that even though you was involved in it, unfortunately you wasn't given the result?
Yeah. Sorry, just to go back to that other question, I do reflect on that round 8 and think, oh my God, why did they let her hold me? So yeah, I do go to do that. I think with boxing, some people want that tangible thing to be able to hold and say that's a thing of all the hard work and it's a token of what you've put into a camp and what you've done to your body, and that's the same with myself. It wasn't just me. It's never just me that goes through camps. There's Joe, there's Scott, there's Johnny, there's the lads in the gym that pull you through. There's me little girl, like I said, she was involved in the Harper camp more than she's ever been involved before because she was in the gym running down the tracks with me. There's her, there's my family and everything, and to come out with nothing to show for it, it is like a kick in the teeth, especially when I personally believe that I did enough. So, but again, I try and look at the positives and not dwell on the negatives. Otherwise, you just fall down the trap.
I mean, one thought we briefly touched on earlier as well is that possible Katie Taylor fight. You met as amateurs, as professionals now, with how much growth and how much support the female side of boxing is receiving currently and will hopefully continue to do so. How big of a rematch could it be between yourself and Katie Taylor?
I think the minute I said I was turning over pro, there's always been that build up because of how good the amateur bout was in the Olympics. Obviously, we came out with the Olympic record, the Irish and the Scouse together, making as much noise as they can. It was a brilliant atmosphere. My amateur coach, Mitch McAllister, he's been around the world, pro, amateur, and he's never seen or heard an atmosphere like it. It's been at some of the biggest events, and I think from that moment on, I think Dr. Wu himself, who was the IABA president at the time, said, that was what women's boxing needed. That's what we wanted the world to see. And still to this day, herself and myself are proving that point and breaking down them barriers. So I think as far as British female boxing goes, that it's a huge fight for both of us. And, there's Cameron, there's Serrano, there's not many other fights out there that really people want to see that Taylor's got left. So me being an option is always a plus for me.
I mean, comparing yourselves as amateurs to professionals now, you've both, well, she's currently undisputed world champion. You've fought at world level. You've shown you belong at world level. How would a fight between the pair of you play out in your eyes compared to the amateur days?
Well, obviously, in amateur, it's all about points. It was at that time in the 2012 games. So, once you've got a couple of points behind, you have to kind of either half go for it and leave yourself open to get your opponent get more points. But with pro boxing, you just lost the round, so you can get the round back. It's a lot easier to do. You've got more rounds, so you're not, if you lose the first one or two, then you're not struggling to get the last two in, do you know what I mean, before. So there's a lot more rounds, there's a lot more endurance, there's a good setting a good pace, there's power punching counts, which it doesn't really in the amateurs. And yeah, I think we've got a style, both of us, that gels. She's fast and explosive and I'm powerful and explosive, so that's what people want to see.
Now, just a couple of things I want to quickly touch on with you, Tash, before I leave you to enjoy the rest of your day and get back to homeschooling your little girl. We haven't had a chance to catch up yet. Callum Smith, unfortunately, succumbed to his first professional career loss to Saul Canelo Alvarez last year. Just kind of take me back to that fight, Natasha. What was your thoughts on it?
To be honest, I didn't actually give Canelo enough credit for how clever he was. I don't think Callum did much wrong. I just think he was that clever. He's seen an opening in his arms, he targeted it, he went for it, and that's not something that's not something you do as you know, you're taught to aim for the head, aim for the body, aim for the sides, and you know, aiming for someone's arm or chest is not something that you're taught. But obviously, it's something that he'd worked on, and he stuck to his game plan, and it worked for him. He was very explosive, very powerful, and unfortunately for Callum, it just wasn't his day.
What do you think is next for Callum? Do you see him moving up to light heavyweight and becoming a 2-weight world champion?
I mean, that's like, I haven't spoke to him on that level personally, yeah. But you know, he did get 4 weeks' notice. You know, whether he feels he wants to go up or he needs to go up with his weight, because he is a big lad, so he has the potential to be able to move up and not be an issue. So yeah, maybe, possibly.
Billy Joe's been sort of spoken about for that Canelo fight not next, but in May, if Canelo overcomes Avni Yildirim, as many expect him to. Just your thoughts on Billy Joe's chances against Canelo?
I think with Billy Joe, he's hard to replicate. So, you know, you trying to find sparring to replicate Billy Joe is not going to happen, because there is only one Billy Joe. So, you know, he's awkward. At his best, he's slick, he's sharp, he's confident, and yeah, I think he puts up a good show. You know.
Final man, I just want to touch on Natasha is Callum Johnson. You mentioned him briefly earlier. It seems to be, you know, yourself and Callum are the two which continue to get mentioned, and people want to see out certainly as quickly as possible. How's Callum doing in the gym?
I was just training with him before, that's why I mentioned him so much. You know, Callum's one of them. He keeps himself in good shape. Now, there's good shape and boxing fit, which are two different things. But yeah, he's back in the gym. He's training hard again. We're working for the date. I've literally just put a post up on the socials saying we are the undateables for all the right reasons, meaning boxing dates, not that we're undateable. But yeah, it's you know, me and him are in a very similar boat. Like you said before, we're two dangerous people in our weight division. We don't have titles at present, so it's a lot of risk for someone who wants to put on. But there's lots of domestic rivalries there for Callum, Yard, Bout, Arthur, you know, and these are people that, you know, they hold belts and you know, up and comers, and I think they're domestic scraps that people want to see. And it, you know, Callum's proved that he's world level. So, you know, if you're a young one thinking you can come up and go through Callum, it was a really good test to see that.
Right, Natasha, we will leave up there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you speaking to me as always. Thank you, Speak to Boxing Social.
Cheers, thank you.